It is cold and it is windy down on that field. 27 degrees. The wind out of the southwest can gust up to 25 miles per hour. We will get snow before the end of the day. The Green Bay Packers won the toss. They deferred. The Bears will start this day with the football as Crosby will kick it away, and Devin Hester, one of the best ever, will return it for Chicago. We can't wait to see what unfolds here today. Glad you're with us on Fox. Hester from inside the 5. Has some room. Crosses the 30, crosses the 40. And it was Crosby who knocked him out. There's a flag down on the return as Devin Hester just returned it 39 yards. A flag down at the 40 on the Green Bay side of midfield.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the kicking team, number 54, 15-yard penalty, first down Chicago.
They get Victor Ayewa for a personal foul, and just like that, we'll take a look at the penalty as Troy circles it. Well, Ayewa got a little slap to the helmet and he didn't like it.
Yeah, they always get the guy who retaliates, and this time it was on the Packers. Devin Hester with an outstanding return. A game like this, special teams are going to be a big factor.
So a good start for Chicago, and now it's Cutler. Pass to Marshall. Well played by Green Bay defensively. It was Micah Hyde, the first guy that blew it up, and then Mike Neal out there to make the tackle, a gain of just 3. Well, here are the numbers for Jay Cutler. It has not been good since he was traded here from Denver back in 2009 against Green Bay.
Yeah, and we talked about it coming into this game, Joe, that in previous games he has not had that great of a supporting cast around him. This is as good an offensive group really as there is in football. Good offensive line, good skill players, everything's set for Jay Cutler here in this ball game.
A free agent to be. He's got a lot to prove here today. Here's Forte. On the inside handoff to the 35, a gain of 4. Ryan Pickett on the stop. Troy mentioned the offensive line for Chicago. They're very good. And you see what they've been able to do, putting points up. They've got an outside shot. You need to score 40 here today to set a franchise record for points in a season. 3rd and 3. Cutler, quick throw, pass broken up. Jeffrey the intended target, and great coverage by Williams.
Well, Tramon Williams was playing inside technique. You see where his alignment is. He's anticipating the slant route because of where he initially started off. He had a great position in order to make a play on that ball.
If Adam Podlish has done one thing well this year, it's directional punt. His overall numbers not that good, but he's down 26 inside the 20. He'd like to do better than that. Hyde waiting over his head, and it's tapped, still in play, and they're going to mark it after a conversation in the end zone. Michael Ford was down there, and as the officials got together and they're meeting again, they're saying that this ball was touched by Ford when his foot was on the line.
Boy, that was close.
That was really close. It looked like Ford tapped it back inside the 5 before his foot got on the line. But they've called it a touchback.
Well, Joe DeCamillis, the special teams coach for the Chicago Bears. They get the big return by Devin Hester. The offense is unable to do anything with it. But boy, it sure looked like, I agree, it was awfully close as to whether or not Ford was able to keep that ball from being a touchback.
Yeah, that is a reviewable play. And the challenge flag has been thrown by Mark Trestman. Again, Ford gets it on his left forearm there, and it looks like he gets rid of it before he gets on the line.
Yeah, I think what the official sees is the right foot there, Joe, but I don't think, from what I could tell, it was on the line. I think that this is going to be overturned.
Chicago is challenging the ruling on the field of a touchback.
So Trestman throws the flag. We'll get the call when we come back. The early challenge from Chicago. Where will the ball be placed, and where will Aaron Rodgers start with it? We'll find out. We'll get the call here momentarily.
The ruling on the field stands. Green Bay's ball, first down.
Well, this is interesting because we've looked at this a number of times, and not only does Ford, at least to us, appear to touch it before going on the line, but the same for Costanzo, who comes in at the end of it. But the call by Clete Blakeman, who is the referee, and it's ultimately his decision, is that somebody was on the line, and we just don't see that.
Yeah, we don't see it, and I think that if they are picking one of those guys, it would have been Blake Costanzo, and so he really did not need to come sliding into the ball the way that he did.
A toss to Lacy, and Lacy with his bad ankle has a nice start to his day. A 14-yard carry on a toss from Aaron Rodgers. And Eddie Lacy, who has just had a phenomenal rookie season, is injured but still running hard.
An outstanding job by the offensive line. Evan Dietrich Smith, the center, he pulls, he leads the way. Andrew Corliss makes a nice block. Great start for the Green Bay Packers.
Here's Boykin. Boykin, who emerged after the injury to Randall Cobb, who, by the way, is active and ready for action here today. Boykin is good for 5. They're the numbers for Aaron Rodgers, who also won an NFC Championship game on this field in the 2010 season.
Got a lot of success against this Bears team.
On 2nd down and 5. Rodgers protected. Pass caught. That's Corliss. And the big tight end, good for another Green Bay first down. And already you can see Aaron Rodgers changing things at the line of scrimmage. And with his knowledge and his presence, he made the call at the line.
Hey, the Bears have not been good this year getting pressure on quarterbacks. Last in the NFL in sacks. They cannot give Aaron Rodgers that kind of time in this game.
And off to Eddie Lacy, who 3 weeks in a row has tweaked a sprained right ankle. It's not the high ankle sprain. He checked out of the game last week against the Steelers in the 3rd quarter, but he is ready to go, and he's not even running with a limp.
No, and it's pretty remarkable. He injured that ankle against Atlanta a few weeks ago, and he's been unstoppable ever since that happened.
2nd and 3, toss to Lacy. Lacy got maybe a yard. Wooten on the stop. And there's obviously so much more to say about Aaron Rodgers, but you look at what they've been able to do running the ball. It's been such a problem. It's a new dimension for Aaron Rodgers, that run game.
Well, everybody played them coverage when Aaron Rodgers was healthy. When he went down, they saw a lot of extra defenders at the line of scrimmage trying to contain Eddie Lacy. The Packers' run game got better, and now defenses have to make a decision. Are the Bears going to put someone up for Eddie Lacy, or are they going to try to contain the big play in the passing game?
Timeout. Play clock winding down. Prior to a 3rd down for number 12. The MVP is back for Green Bay. Timeout, Chicago. For the game, Matt Forte went over, and maybe a little tap on that formerly broken left collarbone. Talk more about that after a 3rd and 2. Fake the handoff, pass caught. Jordy Nelson. And that quick throw from Aaron Rodgers, who's been practicing for 3 weeks. He says he feels fantastic. His arm is ready to go.
Excellent route by Jordy Nelson. The difference is Aaron Rodgers gets the ball out of his hands so quickly. The Packers are anticipating that route. They're trying to run James Anderson underneath it. That's the difference in Aaron Rodgers and Matt Flynn. Just the quickness that the ball comes out of his hands.
14 yards to Nelson on 3rd down. Now a toss to Lacy, who cuts back upfield and knocked down at the 25. Troy, you had a broken collarbone in your career. It's not that infrequent an injury for a quarterback. How do you think the collarbone for Aaron Rodgers holds up the rest of the way?
Well, I think he's fine as long as he doesn't land on it like he did when he broke it. You know, I mean, a healthy bone snap then. This one's not completely healed, but he did take 7 weeks off. I don't think that is on Aaron Rodgers' mind at all. And he has gotten into a nice groove here on the opening possession.
Hey, Jerry, 5-5. Jerry. Hey, Lucy.
On 2nd and 4, Rodgers finds Starks, who drops it. 3rd down coming up.
This looks a lot like that opening possession when these two teams met back on November 4th. Aaron Rodgers took him right down the field that night before he did suffer the broken collarbone. But well, you combine the running game of the Green Bay Packers and now Aaron Rodgers, he presents some real problems for this Bears defense.
3rd down and 4. Rodgers comes over the middle. Pass is incomplete, but a flag. Jordy Nelson the target. Isaiah Fry in coverage. And Fry draws the flag.
They go man-to-man. They try to bring pressure now, and you see the grab.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 31. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Pretty easy call there. Isaiah Fry, he draws the assignment of Jordy Nelson in the slot. That's a tough matchup for anybody. And he gets called for the penalty.
First thing Jordy Nelson talked about when he sat down in our meeting with regard to Rodgers being back is his ability to change plays at the line of scrimmage. We've seen him do it already a couple of times on this opening drive, and he has such a presence about him. I mean, this team has an entirely different look offensively.
I thought it had an entirely different feel last night in visiting with him. And you just tell that this is a confident football team coming into this game.
On 1st down, that's Nelson. Nelson made only 1 touchdown catch during the time that Aaron Rodgers was out. That was in that crazy comeback win at Dallas. Nelson good for 3 here.
About Mike McCarthy when he came into that meeting room last night, Joe. I mean, I haven't seen him that excited or with a smile that big in a long time the day before a game.
Hey, smart.
I'm with you. Rodgers, Boykin, nowhere to go. Did all he could. Gain of 2. Went around Zach Bowman and Isaiah Fry. Turned it into a positive play. Cutler sitting and watching. Think how this thing started. They get the 39-yard return by Hester. They get the personal foul on top. They can't get a 1st down. They punt it. Looked like they downed it inside the 5. They don't get the call, and now here's Green Bay 3rd and 5 at the 15. Pass is high but caught. Nelson made the catch, and he's got enough for a 1st down. James Anderson on the coverage and with the tackle, but a nice catch by Jordy Nelson.
Well, it was a good catch. Aaron Rodgers sees it. They're going to bring the blitz off the edge. The outside receiver's trying to make a block for Jordy Nelson, and had they have been able to make a little bit better throw, get it to him on the run, that could have been a really big play.
Rodgers has started 6 for 7. And they have that no-huddle hurry-up approach.
So much for Rodgers coming out rusty.
Ready, done.
Lacy gets it right side to the 5. Aaron Rodgers was not sold on Eddie Lacy early. Neither were you. And it took a few weeks But like Aaron Rodgers told us yesterday, we hit the jackpot with this guy.
No doubt. I saw what Aaron Rodgers saw. You know, a good player, but you're just waiting to see a little something special. He has shown that down the stretch here this year. He gets better as the game goes along. He's gotten better as the season went along, too.
Jelly Sky! Jelly
Rodgers is going to slide.
That's smart.
Anderson is there to tap him down, and Aaron talked about that and how he's going to have to change not only the rest of this year, but maybe the rest of his career now as he's about to turn 30 years old.
Well, you have an injury like that, you miss the kind of time that he did, first time really in his career, and kind of gives you a little different perspective on how much this team needs him, seeing them suffer and struggle in his absence.
Third down. Rodgers out to his right. Pass is picked off. Intercepted by Chris Conte. And that long first possession turns into the pick. Conte has his third of the season. No score, Chicago. Conte gets the pick. David Bass had the pressure in a 14-play drive, and Aaron Rodgers returned to this offense that covers 75 yards in 7.5 minutes. Ends up in Aaron Rodgers' 4th career red zone interception. And so now what does Cutler bring? He tries to hit Marshall. Brandon could not make the catch.
You know, when Aaron Rodgers gets flushed out, all he's looking at is Tim Jennings and whether or not Boykin is going to beat him. What happens is Chris Conte here is on Andrew Quarless. He's able to then come off of Quarless and get underneath that throw. Aaron Rodgers never saw him, never anticipated him being able to make a play.
Sit down! 180!
Now 2nd and 10.
180!
Pass is caught this time by Marshall for a first down. 13-yard catch for Brandon Marshall as these Bears boast 2 1,100-yard receivers.
Yeah, and Brandon Marshall says he hasn't felt this good in weeks. He was suffering from hamstring and quad injuries, and then last week he went and saw a therapist and got some treatment, and they were able to get it released, and he says that he's poised for a huge game, as good as he feels.
180!
Aiming for a 5th straight 100-catch season. Handoff is to Forte. A ton of room into Green Bay territory. 21-yard carry by Matt Forte.
You see this over and over this year from the Green Bay Packers. Right here looks like Jamari Lattimore. That's his gap. And if you're going to contain, as Mike Neal does up the field, then somebody has to be there in the hole. The Packers have not shown much discipline in run defense throughout this season.
This has been a bad defense. Suffered a lot of injuries, but they've given up a ton of points, especially lately. Here's Forte to the 45.
And take a look at Green Bay and what they need to do defensively as they come into this ball game. One of them is get pressure on Cutler. We talked about the lack of success that he had. Let him know that today was going to be no different. And then they have to limit the big plays. The Achilles heel for this Packers defense has been the big plays against them. This is a Bears passing game with Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey that's certainly capable of chewing up some big yards.
2nd and 8.
180! 180!
Cutler steps up, throws. Downfield, pass caught. Brandon Marshall. Sam Shields was there, mistimed his jump. 37-yard catch.
Little double move, but it really doesn't fool Sam Shields. This is a perfectly thrown ball by Jay Cutler. He goes to the 6'4" Brandon Marshall. Sam Shields, who's just 5'11", unable to get up and make a play on this ball. Pretty good coverage overall, but a well-thrown pass by Jay Cutler, and that's one of the big plays we talked about.
180! 180!
Now first and goal. Cutler back to his left and throws it out of the end zone. Second and goal.
Now this wide receiver duo of Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, they're tall, rangy guys. And you're able to then make some throws with them that you just can't make with a lot of receivers. And they've shown a willingness to be able to go up and make those plays. They've been impressive.
Already thrown at Brandon Marshall 5 times. 3 catches, 53 yards. Forte down inside the 5. Raji on the stop. Third and goal coming up.
Well, so now the Bears come back and they're putting together a drive of their own after that interception by Chris Conte. And I know Mark Trestman talked about the approach coming into this game, trying to get Matt Forte going a little bit earlier in this game, something that they weren't able to do last Sunday night against Philadelphia because that game got away from them so quickly.
Third down and goal. Cutler, Forte for the touchdown.
Just an outstanding job by Jay Cutler. He's got protection, but he's going to slide up in the pocket, help those tackles out. They got Matt Forte coming out. He's running an option route. He creates separation. That's just a great drive by the Chicago Bears, coming away with a touchdown.
37-yard completion, and Marshall set it up. Matt Forte had a 21-yard run. Capped the drive with a 4-yard touchdown catch. And it's 7-0. What a shift. Aaron Rodgers taking the Packers down the field, had a 14-play drive end with that. And then Forte on the other end, 7-0 Chicago. Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide Insurance. Packers went down the field through the interception in the end zone. And now the Chicago Bears all fired up after an 8-play, 80-yard drive. Cutler made some good throws on that possession, getting the Bears into the end zone. This is former Bear Khalil Bell. And he is spun down at the 19. So much focus on the quarterbacks in this one on a cold day in Chicago. Rodgers the pick. Cutler a touchdown. 7-0 Chicago. Win and in. Win and you win the NFC North, and you host a playoff game next weekend. Bears strike first. Couldn't do anything with great field position to start their day, but got an interception in their own end zone and turned it into 7 points. And now Aaron Rodgers starts with it at the 19. This is Starks on a toss, running to his left. Cuts upfield, picks up a yard. Peppers on the stop. Here's Kurt with the game break.
The way the day has unfolded, the San Diego win against Kansas City's backups, and they clinch a spot in the AFC playoffs. But Dexter McCluster put the Chiefs up 14-0 right now from Chase Daniel. That kind of day already. It's 14-7. Kansas City up now. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
Crazy day in the AFC, no doubt. There's hope for the Steelers. Here's Starks again on the toss. And he's knocked down just short of first down yardage, a gain of 7 by Isaiah Fry.
Now you look at this Bears defense here in the early going. Mel Tucker talked about it the other day, and he said that he was going to bring some pressure, try to mix some things up defensively. And that's exactly what he has done. He's not known as a guy who likes to bring a lot of pressure, but he has done that here in the early going.
Third down and 1, a toss to Starks. First down. Mike McCarthy wanted to get James Starks more involved early. He's done that. This has been his possession, and we look at the defense for Chicago and circle that name, or at least pay attention to the name Julius Peppers. He's got to step up here today.
Well, they got to create takeaways, and they've done that already, which has been big in this game.
Nice cutback by Starks. On first down, he gets 5, major right on the tackle.
You know, defensively, Joe, they've not been good at a lot of things, but they've been decent creating takeaways. That has to continue. And then Julius Peppers, there's games where he just doesn't show up. This can't be one of them.
A battle in the north, win and in. Good start, 1 quarter in the books. 7-0 Chicago. Back after this from your local Fox station. The great rivalry, the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears. 26-degree day in Chicago. 7-0. Bears on top, and Randall Cobb is back in action. Missed 10 games, broken leg. He was hurt at Baltimore week 6 in the middle of October. Such a valuable part of this offense in the slot, and that's where he is. 2nd and 5. Rodgers is going to find Jordy Nelson, and Nelson is down inside the 30. He went around Tim Jennings after making the grab, and Aaron Rodgers found Nelson for 33 yards.
It's a great job by Jordy Nelson, because he's running the go route, but as he turns to look for the ball, he sees that Aaron Rodgers needs help, and so he comes back, works down the sideline, creates a lot of space, easy completion. It's an excellent job by Jordy Nelson helping out his quarterback.
319.
On first down, Rodgers, Nelson tapped and picked. Off the hands of Nelson into the arms of Tim Jennings. Two picks for the Chicago defense.
It looked like Josh Sitton may have got pushed back just enough to get into the way of Aaron Rodgers and force that ball to come out a little bit higher than what he liked. You don't see Aaron Rodgers have multiple interceptions in a game very often, but he's got 2 now here in the first half.
He sat down. You asked him how his arm felt. He said it's too strong. He threw a Hail Mary in practice the other day way out of the back of the end zone. His arms never felt this good at the end of a season since taking over in 08 as the starter. Now at the 20, handoff is to Forte. And Matt, who has a touchdown catch in this game, good for 5. Malumba on the tackle. Remember, this Green Bay defense is playing without Clay Matthews, who re-broke that right thumb. He missed 4 games. He is out here today, not on IR, but had surgery. He seems finished for the rest of the season, and obviously a huge loss. That playmaker on defense.
Yeah, this offensive line for the Bears really has done a nice job all year. They were not good last week against the Eagles. Jay Cutler sacked 5 times, but the job got easier with Matthews not playing today.
On 2nd and 5, Cutler completes to Jeffrey, and Jeffrey was hit immediately by Tramon Williams. Let's go down to Pam.
Well, Joe, while Jay Cutler led that touchdown drive on that last possession, he was without his starting rookie right tackle, Jordan Mills. Mills suffered a foot injury, Joe. He's out for the rest of the game. Back to you.
Well, there's been such continuity up front. That group's been healthy all year. They've all made all 16 starts.
Especially when you consider two rookies, Kyle Long and Jordan Mills, starting on that right side. They've not without some growing pains, but they've had outstanding rookie campaigns.
3rd down and 5. Blitz coming from Green Bay. Cutler steps up, throws, passes behind Brandon Marshall. It's a huge 4th down.
That's a huge stop right there for this Packers defense. You know, the offense has been able to move the football, and they just had the turnovers that have kept them from coming away with any points. But off of the interception, Micah Hyde getting physical with Brandon Marshall off the ball. And a key stop there on 3rd down.
Podlish looked like he had a perfect punt first time. It ended up as a touchback, and now with Micah Hyde waiting for it, he is able to hang on. Now it comes out. That ball was loose. And now the fight for the football. Hyde looked like he juggled it, had it, lost it. And it's going to stay with Green Bay. So nearly the 3rd turnover as Micah Hyde couldn't make a clean catch. But the Packers have possession, down by 7. Aaron Rodgers back to the field with his Green Bay offense.
Surprise chip. Cheeseburger, 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 cheeseburger.
The Billy Goat Tavern, Chicago staple since 1934. John Belushi made that famous on SNL many, many years ago.
This city's filled with some great places to go eat.
Find them on every corner. And now the Green Bay Packers, who've had 2 possessions, run 20 plays, have 7 first downs, and covered 125 yards, but 2 picks. Down 7, back to work. From the 36. Passes right into the ground. Corliss was out there, but there was no room even if he made the catch.
Yeah, Andrew Corliss running the tight end screen, and Julius Peppers was right there on him, and Aaron Rodgers just having to throw that away.
2nd and 10. Handoff to Lacy. This is the worst run defense in the NFL. The Chicago Bears. Eddie Lacy good for 5. But this Bears defense is allowing almost 5.5 yards per carry. It's at 5.4, and you have to go back to the expansion Vikings in 61 for a worse figure.
You're going back over 50 years to find a run defense that's worse. That's pretty poor.
3rd down and 5. Pass is caught by Nelson. Jordy Nelson happy to have his quarterback back. And the completion on 3rd and 5 of 26.
This is a play that gave them problems the last time these two teams met. Jordy Nelson just running a dagger right through the middle of the defense, man-to-man coverage, and Aaron Rodgers throws a strike.
How about Nelson? 5 catches, 80 yards already. You think he's happy to see number 12 back?
Roger. Mel Tucker's not so happy.
He's the defensive coordinator for Chicago on 1st down. Pass is caught by James Jones. Staggers his way inside the 30. Isaiah Fry there, a gain of 5.
You know, it's pretty obvious in talking to Mike McCarthy as the Packers go to their no huddle, and they ran it some with Matt Flynn, but nobody runs it the way that Aaron Rodgers does, and there was such an emphasis coming into this season running that no huddle.
And slip out.
Yeah.
Ready.
Toss to Lacy. Not much out there. Third down coming up. Gain of a yard, David Bass on the tackle.
I was talking about Mike McCarthy as far as what his approach was going to be as the play caller with Aaron Rodgers. He wanted to get him into a rhythm early. He's been able to do that, even though there has been the 2 interceptions, but he's cutting him loose.
Third down and 4. Rodgers out to his left. He's down. Lance Briggs, second game back, but a flag is down at the end of the play. And they threw the flag after Rodgers was hit after going down.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 99. Late hit after the quarterback was down. 15-yard penalty, first down, Green Bay.
They get Shea McClellan, who's the guy who broke Aaron Rodgers' collarbone back on the 4th of November.
Well, we'll see when Aaron Rodgers goes down. I don't see much there, Joe. He didn't come in, didn't use his helmet. You know, he's in the process of trying to make a play and pull up at the same time. Bodies are in the way. I think that's a bad call. Mel Tucker, the defensive coordinator, however, does an excellent job of disguising the looks, and he's brought a number of pressures here in this first half. The Packers were able to pick it up, but Aaron had nowhere to go with the football.
I mean, what a call against Chicago. He just rolled on the body of Aaron Rodgers. There didn't look to be anything extra there at all. Here's Jones on the edge, and James Jones with a stiff arm gets a few extra yards as he pushed Bowman, a gain of 6.
You know, Shea McClellan, he's been pretty active here in this first half, and you know, think back to that last game. Not only did he break Aaron Rodgers' collarbone, but he had 3 sacks in that game. He was all over the place, and they're hoping that he can get into some kind of groove like that here in this game. As you said, Joe, that was just a bad call.
And really could be devastating for Chicago. They were on the outer edge on this cold day of field goal range.
Leave it on, leave it on, leave it on.
Would have been 4th down instead of first down by penalty. Now 2nd and 4. Here's Lacy, slips down at the 15. And a loss of 3.
Lance Briggs returned last week and didn't have much of an impact on that game, but here he is getting up the field. We've seen a lot of edge pressure in trying to keep Eddie Lacy from being able to get outside, and they've been effective in doing that. He's had to show great patience and really cut underneath that.
3rd down and 7 from the 15. Timeout number 2. We'll take a break as well. This crowd will rev it up when we come back before 3rd and 7. Only points belong to Chicago. This win and in game at Soldier Field. 3rd down and 7. The Green Bay Packers at the 15.
Well, we'll see what Mel Tucker decides to do here. As I said, on the last few 3rd downs, he's brought extra people trying to get after Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers floats it. Pass is incomplete. Off the left hand of Jordy Nelson, who's been the top target today for Aaron Rodgers. It's 4th down.
You know, Chicago looked like they might have got caught trying to check defenses right at the time the ball was being snapped. You see the linebackers are going to start trying to communicate out to the corners what the coverage is. Ball was snapped, but yet they were able to make a play on this ball. So even with the poor call in keeping this drive alive, the Bears toughen up and force a field goal attempt.
33-yard try by Crosby. He has had a great year. 3 Packer possessions, all 3 got inside the Chicago 30. But a total of 3 points, down by 4. Under 8 to go, first half. A 7-3 game with Chicago on top. Bears about to get it back. Again, 3 possessions. All 3 have gotten inside the Bears' 30-yard line. But only 3 points. 2 times inside the red zone. Hester's already had a good one today. With this iffy footing, he catches it on the run. Picks his way out to the 25. The ball came out. There's a flag down. Hester, who fumbled on a kick return last week at Philly, lost the ball on the return. But again, a flag is down, and we'll see who comes out of that pile with the football. Bears think they have it. And it's Hester on top of the football at the bottom of that pile. But again, a flag is down. 17-yard return, and Hester almost coughed it up.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 52. Penalties 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Chicago.
That's Blake Costanzo. Friday, one of the best bowl games of the year is right here on Fox. It's the 13th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys take on James Franklin and the 8th ranked Missouri Tigers. AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic Friday at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox.
Well, the Bears were fortunate they were able to get back on that fumble. Think back to last Sunday night, and you mentioned it, Joe, the fumble by Devin Hester in that game. That's what turned that ball game around so early. It's clearly out, but Devin Hester gets a fortunate bounce, and he's able to get right back on top of it.
Drive starts at the 10. Play action to Forte, and Cutler goes down. Sack on the play, and it's Malumba. And for Andy Malumba, he's got his first, the rookie free agent out of Eastern Michigan.
Andy Malumba, he just goes right through Martellus Bennett. Bennett is regarded as a pretty good blocker, but you see the power rush there by Malumba, pushes Bennett back and then creates some separation, comes right underneath and gets a sack on Cutler.
So his first in the NFL. He's coached by one of the all-time greats, Kevin Green, the outside linebackers coach, and they've had to juggle those linebackers so much because of injuries. Brad Jones is inactive today with his bad ankle. Here's Forte. Forte on 2nd and 12 gets 2. Let's go to Kurt with a game break.
Well, the Chargers have tied it with Kansas City. Phillip Rivers hooking up with Antonio Gates' 4-yard score. All even at 14. San Diego wins. They're in the playoff. If they lose, Pittsburgh grabs that last spot in the AFC. Joe, Troy, and Pam.
They see Kevin Green right there. You mentioned him, Joe. Both he and Winston Moss, they've earned their pay on the staff this year with all of the changes that have occurred at that linebacker position, both inside and outside.
3rd down and 10. Cutler is nearly picked. Jared Bush flashed in front of Alshon Jeffrey and almost came away with a Cutler interception.
That was a dangerous throw there by Jay Cutler, throwing back into the middle of the field. Looked like had he have kept the ball and ran, he might have been able to pick it up with his legs. He does a good job navigating the pocket, stepping up, and you see what he had out in front of him. Fortunate incompletion on that play.
Bush had 1 interception this season. It was a big one in a win at home over Atlanta. Here's Podlish, and he hits a short punt. Very poor punt by Podlish, and it's going to be tapped down near the 41. Just a 30-yard punt. And the crowd lets the Chicago punter hear it. Kevin Green pumped up. His guys stepped up. Packers have it down 4. There's us, 26-degree day in Chicago here, week 17. Winner of this game wins the NFC North. Drive starts at the Chicago 41 after that 30-yard punt.
It's not often you give the Packers offense this kind of field position and hold them out of the end zone either.
Here's Lacy. Well played. Well played up front by the Chicago Bears defense. James Anderson was out there to make the play, a loss of 2.
Really an outstanding job of really pursuing the football. And as I said on the previous possession, this Bears defense has really rallied in keeping Eddie Lacy from getting outside. Whether that's running the defenders up the field and making him then cut back to the middle. This time it was just great pursuit that kept them from being able to get to the corner.
On second down, pass is caught by Lacy, looking for a block. Tried to hurdle a tackler, and that man brought him down. Jennings, a gain of 8.
I'll tell you, normally,
and Jennings is hurt.
Yeah, he is hurt bad, it looks.
He's the guy that Lacy tried to go over, and Jennings got a knee or leg right to the side of the helmet. They look at Jennings. We'll take a break. Tim Jennings on the left. He came up limping when we went to timeout. That's Charles Tillman on the right. Played in 8 games. Tearing his triceps. He's on IR. This is a defense for Chicago that has 39 games missed by week 1 starters. That's the most in the NFL. DJ Williams at middle linebacker. Henry Melton, their good defensive tackle. And it's shown up in the stats. 3rd and 4. Pass is caught for the first down. That's James Jones. A 7-yard completion in a tight spot. Aaron Rodgers fitted right in.
Yeah, really tight. You know, they throw that back shoulder fade, and it's just difficult to defend. So you play over the top, anticipating the go route, and you leave yourself susceptible then for that underneath throw.
Hey, pop up. 319. 319.
Here's Starks, cuts back. And James Starks stumbles down to the 20. Gain of 9.
James Starks has had really a nice year. Even though Eddie Lacy has been the featured guy, and I know Mike McCarthy, he said that he believes it's Starks' best season that he's had. He said he'd like to get him 10 to 12 carries each and every game. Has a lot of confidence in his abilities.
They toss to him left side, and he spins for the first down. Gain of 3 by Starks. And again, Eddie Lacy is playing with that bad right ankle. So they're riding Starks right now. Lacy appears to be okay. He's moved around pretty well. The footing is not good on this field here in Chicago as we approach 3.5 minutes left in the opening half.
Well, both Starks and Lacy, they're very similar in their styles, both power runners.
On first down, Rodgers is hit from behind. Ball is out. They're saying this play is live. They're waiting for somebody to do something. That's Boykin. He's going to go in for a touchdown. How about that? It was knocked out by Peppers, and Clete Blakeman was letting them play through. Boykin got on top of it and finally took it in with his sideline, begging him to run. Chicago had a shot at the ball, and what could have been a turnover. Let's take a look. That ball is out. Goes as a touchdown for Green Bay as Boykin is there to pick it up.
That's a good job by the officials of keeping the play alive, because initially, Joe, I thought it was an incomplete pass. Ball comes out before the hand comes forward.
It's a scoring play, so it's reviewed. But Boykin, for a moment there, he was just going to give up, and his sideline is screaming at him to take off, and he goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Immediately when that ball came out, Troy, the officials threw the beanbag to signify that he was calling it a fumble, and everybody just stood around. One of the Chicago Bears had a shot at picking it up and taking it down the field the other way for a touchdown. He just walked right by it, and Boykin finally, after hearing from his sideline, took it in for the score.
Well, that's the benefit that he has with the ball being on the Green Bay Packers half of the field. So when Boykin goes and picks it up, he's nearest to the Packers sidelines, and those coaches are yelling for him to continue to keep with the ball into the end zone for the touchdown. And I saw with so many players on the field saw that it looked like it was an incomplete pass initially, but that's a good job by those officials.
Let's go to Mike Pereira in LA. Mike, what'd you see back there?
The same thing you guys saw. It's interesting because he gets hit from behind, and that's what propels the ball forward. But that initial contact was before the hand started to go forward, and the ball spun in his hand. So here, getting hit from behind, if you take a look here, ball's hit, hand is hit before the hand starts forward, and the ball slips in his hand, and it ends up being pushed forward. So it is a fumble. And like you say, good job of not reacting by the downfield officials and making a ruling of a play being over. And I think when you look at this, it is in fact still a fumble. Ball's out even before the elbow starts forward, but it is the hand that's the determining factor anyway.
Yeah, that was interesting what Mike said. This is a crew that's been under fire this season, this officiating crew, but even the guys downfield let the play continue. Nobody blew a whistle. They were watching Blakeman, who threw the beanbag, and Boykin eventually picks it up and takes it in. I don't see any reason why this wouldn't stand as a touchdown for Green Bay.
Yeah, I don't either, Joe, and the crowd reacts. And
let's get the call. Remember, it was Blakeman who made the call on the fumble, and now they're bringing Blakeman back to the sideline. But clearly the hand was in essence empty. The ball had been spinning and then it was propelled forward, but the ball was not clean in the hand of Aaron Rodgers. And now they're evidently talking about the clock, which right now shows 3:28 left, but we'll get the call from Blakeman. But this ball is out of the hand of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And it's Boykin who ends up taking it in.
Yeah, and what looks to now be a touchdown on really an outstanding defensive play. This first half, there's been much more defense than I anticipated coming in.
And it was Peppers, who you mentioned early, is the guy who made the play coming around the edge, and who was the one that knocked it out. But they bring Blakeman back now. He's ready to make the call. He's got a stadium and a big viewing audience waiting to hear it.
After reviewing the play, the ball was loose prior to the quarterback's hand coming forward. It is a fumble with a valid recovery and advance for a touchdown. The ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a touchdown.
And Boykin gets the score, but it happened after he was prodded by his sideline to get going with the football, because he was about to give up on the play as well. And it's a 15-yard fumble return for a touchdown on the part of Jared Boykin. And for Boykin, his fourth total touchdown of the season. It's a 10-7 game. That was the proper call, and the Packers have their first lead.
Well, there's Jared Boykin there, and you're going to see that, you know, even he thought the play was over as he works back when the ball's on the ground, and he just kind of recovers it and then thinks it's over and done with. But, you know, that's something that's preached upon at the lowest levels of football, that you continue to play through the whistle. You go after the football, you make a play on it, you let the officials then sort through it. And was not a good job really by anybody, but Boykin's able to recover it. The sideline tells him to get into the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Packers.
It was James Anderson, the 8th-year linebacker, who went right by the ball for Chicago. And that touchdown on what looked to be initially an incomplete pass, but ruled a fumble properly, that could have gone the other way for a touchdown for Anderson in Chicago. But it's Boykin who happened to be in the right spot at the right time, and the Packers lead by 3 with under 3.5 to go in the half. This is Hester, who put it on the ground last time he returned one, and can't make the 20. knocked down at the 15-yard line. And we'll welcome you inside our broadcast booth. It's not been the type game that I think either one of us expected, and that's because of how well these two defenses have played.
Yeah, both these defenses had struggled coming into this game. The offenses are explosive. You expect a high-scoring affair. That has not been the case. Chicago defensively really has done a nice job. They've given up some yards, but they've created the takeaways that really they needed to do to limit the points. They make a nice play. You know, Julius Peppers makes a nice play on that ball, and to have it knocked out of the quarterback's hands resulted in a touchdown. That was a demoralizing play for this Bears team.
So now back to Cutler. Bears have it for the 5th time. They've had 4 3-and-outs. They had the one good drive that was put together that ended on the touchdown with Forte, who checks out now, a gain of 5. And the clock winds down toward the 3-minute mark here in this first half.
For this Packers defense, talking about how good the Bears have been, the Packers defense has been good as well. I mean, they had the one drive, they went down the field, the Bears got the touchdown, but other than that, they really have not been able to put much together.
2nd down and 5. Handoff is to Bush. Michael Bush is going to be knocked down at the 25. It's a 1st down. Mike Neal made the stop. Let's talk about Cutler for a second. It was not a clear-cut choice for that man, Mark Trestman, to go back to Cutler when he was healthy 2 weeks ago because of the way Josh McCown played. He was terrific.
He was outstanding. I remember that game on Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys in worse conditions than this, and he threw the ball as though it was a 75-degree day. He did a heck of a job coming in off the bench for Cutler.
It's a big reason why the Bears are even in this spot. Or if they win here today, they win the division. Bush carries for 5. And we're at the 2-minute warning. Here's the big play of the first half so far. Peppers forced the fumble. Boykin took it in. 10-7, Green Bay. Down by 3 after a crazy play offensively for Green Bay. The Bears face 2nd and 5. Pass is caught. 1st down. Alshon Jeffrey. Ball is out. Picked up by Green Bay. A lateral to Shields. And Shields down inside the 30. The fumble picked up by Morgan Burnett. And then he found Sam Shields, who took it inside the 30-yard line. Let's take another look.
Yeah, good throw there by Jay Cutler, and then at the end of this play, see if he was still up. Sure. Me clearly not on the ground. Ball is out. Morgan Burnett, when he comes out of this pile with the ball, boy, that was risky when all of a sudden he's tossing it backwards to Sam Shields. A big play defensively by this Packers defense.
A forced fumble, and now the Bears have a turnover. There's the lateral to Shields. And there have been a total of 3 takeaways in this opening half. And it's been better for the Packers defense. It's something, Troy, we've talked about with regard to Dom Capers. His defense, they'll give up yards, but it's a defense predicated on taking the ball away, and that has been much better of late.
Yeah, it has. You know, I mean, overall, this defense has not been real good creating takeaways. Just 20 takeaways on the season coming in, but over the last 4 weeks, they've had 10, which, as you said, that's really what Dom Capers and this defense has been all about over the years. They've done a nice job here in recent weeks. And once again, Joe, I mean, they're setting their offense up in outstanding field position.
2nd time the drive has started inside Chicago territory for Green Bay. Lacy gets it, and he just drives forward to the 25. 1:39 left, and Green Bay with 1 timeout remaining. Second and 7. Pass is high for Jordy Nelson. And Rodgers knows he missed one with that throw. Let's go back to that play. The last points that were put up, Boykin is there to pick it up. Even Aaron Rodgers didn't realize that that play was live until he heard from the sideline, and you'll see the reaction by the group behind Rodgers and Boykin, screaming at Boykin to take off.
Well, we saw what the Packers coaching staff was yelling. I couldn't tell what the Bears staff was yelling, but no one on the field was saying anything.
3rd down and 7. Bears need a stop. Pass is caught by Nelson. Jordy Nelson down inside the 10, and the clock continues to wind. Clock not a factor right now. 16-yard completion.
We've seen Aaron Rodgers be high on a few throws. That one was an outstanding throw, protecting the receiver, a safe throw. That's where you want to put it. Jordy Nelson makes the play.
Here's Lacy. Good job up front by the Bears. Lance Briggs was in there, and the clock winds under 45 to go.
Here's the route by Jordy Nelson. He's a big target, but Aaron Rodgers got flushed to his left, and then he's making a throw really without knowing exactly what is out in front of Nelson. So then you want to put it down low. So good ball placement by Rodgers. Nelson makes the play.
They still have a timeout, taking a lot of time. Rodgers is going to throw it away with 11 seconds remaining in the half before a 3rd and goal. Wooten with pressure. Piece of halftime is coming up with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. Seahawks are doing their part to wrap up home field advantage, and the Chargers have a win and in situation, same as we have here in Chicago.
We've seen a few times now with Aaron Rodgers afforded protection in the pocket, just nowhere to go with the ball. This secondary for the Chicago Bears has really been strong.
And now having to spend a timeout with the clock stopped because the play clock was at 1 is Aaron Rodgers, and you can see how frustrated he is.
Yeah, that changes now what he's thinking here on this 3rd down play. With 1 timeout, he didn't necessarily have to go into the end zone. You know, you could throw something underneath, give your guy a chance to maybe run in. If he doesn't get in, you have time to make the call timeout. But now with no timeouts left, he's got to be smart with the football.
So it's 3rd and goal, a shot into the end zone, and if they don't get it, then Crosby would come in for the short field goal try. So this is McCarthy and Rodgers trying to dial it up on 3rd and goal from the 9.
The other part of that, Joe, he has to know he cannot take a sack on this play.
Rodgers is incomplete, nowhere to go. And this Bears defense does a nice job to keep Green Bay out of the end zone with 7 seconds left on 4th down. Here comes Crosby.
Yeah, the secondary really has, for the most part. They've been able to lock on to these receivers and not give them too much space. We've seen at times they've been able to make some plays in the passing game, but last couple times Aaron Rodgers with a little bit of time, just nowhere to go with the ball. Aaron, recognizing that, wisely throws it away with time left on the clock.
27-yard try, and it's a 6-point game with 4 seconds left in the half. Clock winds down to 2, so we'll have a kickoff. American Idol is looking for the next superstar. Join Jennifer Lopez, Keith Urban, Harry Connick Jr., along with Ryan Seacrest as they search for the best new talent. American Idol's most exciting season yet begins Wednesday, January 15th, right here on Fox. Packers now have been inside the red zone 4 times. Their 1 touchdown was on that fumble return by Jared Boykin, and this has been a top 10 red zone offense since Aaron Rodgers took over as a starter. But this year they started the day number 27 in the NFL. So granted, a lot of that's with Aaron Rodgers out. But they've missed some chances here today.
Yeah, they have. You know, I mean, the Packers just really with 2 field goals in this game where the defense creates the takeaway. The Bears do on Chris Conte's interception. And then they come back, knock the ball out. Julius Peppers, that, as we know, is what led to the touchdown by Jared Boykin. But defenses have been pretty good here in this first half, and neither offense has been real consistent.
Packers will get the ball to start the second half. Weems gets on top of it. Time has expired in this first half. And now the 2 teams shove a bit, but there's no time left on the clock. And that's it. Good defense on each side in this first half at Soldier Field. The only touchdown for Green Bay coming on that fumble return by Boykin. Forte has the Bears touchdown. 6-point game.
Special game, the longest rivalry in the NFL.
It's a long-standing tradition. Speaks for itself. It's Green Bay in Chicago. It's been going on for years. It's going to be a physical football game, kind of a backyard rivalry.
Nothing better than end your season with the winner-go-home atmosphere.
It is America's Game of the Week, and it's Soldier Field. And you can see by the empty seats, some people went out for some warmth. But they'll be back. A good game. You can follow your team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Green Bay Packers will start this half with a football. It's a 1-score game. It's a 6-point game. And Aaron Rodgers, who Troy threw the 2 picks, showed the ability to make some good throws and move the football, but the only touchdown on that fumble return and that crazy play by Jared Boykin in the first half for the Packers.
Yeah, you know, the Packers in that first half, they moved the ball offensively, over 200 yards of total offense, failed to come away with points because of the 2 interceptions, but give the Bears defensively some credit. Certainly on the first one by Conte, and then the second one off the deflection of Jordy Nelson.
This is Hyde. He'll take a knee. Drive will start at the 20, and down we go to Pam Oliver.
Joe, both coaches with a couple of complaints in that first half, but generally they're pretty happy with what went on. As Mark Trestman, he said that they practice those scoop drills all the time, so he was very disappointed that they didn't go after that ball on that one. As for the Packers, Mike McCarthy, he said in a 13-7 game, I like where we're at. He feels his quarterback is doing a great job getting out of some of those bad plays. Joe?
All right, thanks. It's starting at the 20 for Aaron Rodgers, who was 14 of 22, 145 yards and 2 interceptions.
Watch him hold their water. 319. 319.
Starks on the toss, able to cut up field and cross the 20-yard line, a gain of just 1. Lance Briggs was there to make that stop, and there are the stats in general, and you can see that bottom line, time of possession dominated by Green Bay, but the turnovers, Packers 2, Bears 1.
Yeah, of course, the 1 turnover by Chicago ended that drive right away that kept them from being able to sustain anything, but they've not been good on 3rd down, Joe.
Delayed handoff, it Starks. He is able to get an extra couple of yards. He picks up 8, brought down a yard shy of a first down.
I think that's really where this Green Bay Packer offense is going to have to attack the Bears within that running game. We saw on 1st down they're trying to get Starks to the outside, and the Bears have just not allowed that to happen. They come back in between that guard center gap and get a nice gain on 2nd down.
So now 3rd down and 1. Starks split out wide to the right. Looking left all the way. Pass broken up for Boykin. Coverage by Bowman. And it's 3 and out.
They come back with the slants, and certainly a little bit of contact at the top of that route, but you know, that's something that the Green Bay Packers do extremely well, get inside position on those slant routes. But a good job defensively there by the Bears, forcing a 3 and out to start this second half.
So not running the ball on 3rd down and 1 against the league's worst run defense are the Packers, and now Mastay hits it end over end. It takes a Green Bay bounce, but right to Devin Hester. Has some room. Devin Hester. Mastay slowed him down, and Hester spins down inside the 30. It was a 50-yard punt, but a 49-yard return by Devin Hester. One of the best ever at returning kicks in the history of the NFL.
You always kind of hold your breath when the ball's in his hands, and his ability to take it the distance as he has done so many times. And the Bears get this ball now where the line of scrimmage was when the Packers punted. You know, it's essentially like a turnover, setting the Bears up with perfect field position to start this drive.
Forte gets it. Matt Forte. Got hit by Jennings, but not before he got to the 15-yard line with a 15-yard run.
Well, we talked about Jordan Mills not being in the game. Evan Britton as well as Kyle Long, the right guard, they do an excellent job of blocking down. And then Mike Neal, he comes up the field and leaves just enough space for the big run.
Britton, a free agent that the Bears picked up from Jacksonville. Forte cuts back. Matt Forte tripped up by Lattimore. And that may have been a touchdown saving tackle by the young linebacker Jamari Lattimore, who's in his 3rd year out of Middle Tennessee State.
And Lattimore out of position again. He's playing inside. He's able to make the tackle, but he was out of position, which forced him to have to make the shoestring save.
Now 2nd and 7. Forte again. 3rd and short coming up. Mike Neal on the tackle after a carry of 4 yards by Matt Forte. And even though Matt Forte is a Pro Bowler again, he still has to rank as one of the most underrated players in the NFL.
I think so, because he's a complete player. You know, I mean, he can run the ball, as we know. He's excellent out of the backfield as a receiver. Last week was tough in pass protection, but he does a pretty good job for the most part in that area too.
On 3rd down and 3, it's Forte running left. Cuts upfield. And Matt Forte's got a 1st down at the 5.
Well, left tackle Jermon Bushrod, he leads the way, and on this possession they're saying, hey, we're going to give it to our horse, number 22, Matt Forte, and see what he can do. And he's been getting some good yards on this drive.
Boy, did the Saints miss Bushrod. They let him walk away. Bears picked him up. 1st and goal from the 5. It's Forte. Touchdown.
Well, they wanted to get Matt Forte going earlier in this game, but they do it here to start this second half. 5 straight runs to Matt Forte, not one pass. With great field position to start the drive, they drive it right down the throats of the Packers. Touchdown Bears.
Devin Hester set it up. Robbie Gould puts the Bears on top. It was Hester who got it going with a 49-yard return. And then it was the Chicago offense. Matt Forte. Bears on top by 1. Taking a trip on the L with us in this great city. It's got it all, and right now they've got a 1-point lead. 14-13, win and in. That's what's on the line here at Soldier Field. 25-degree night. Bears on top. Early second half. Bell takes a knee. Devin Hester with a big return. Forte with a touchdown, and now number 12 back to the field, down by 1. There's a day for Aaron Rodgers. Starks, their top running back today. Jordy Nelson just under 100, with the Packers down by 1. Back to Lacy, the big back, the rookie, tripped up out across the 35. Big carry by Eddie Lacy, who may have turned around that game against the Cowboys with a 60-yarder to start the second half. Good for 16.
Well, I thought that was one of the turning points in that game, even though it was so early in the second half. And a good job of right guard TJ Lang on the kick out, and you can tell that Eddie Lacy, who's been nursing that ankle, comes up a little sore.
There's Starks. I wouldn't be surprised after watching Chicago just run the ball right down the throats of the Green Bay Packers to see the Packers turn it back on Chicago and make them stop the run, something they've not been able to do all season long.
Well, I think you made a good point, Joe, on 3rd and 1 that they threw the slants and didn't run the ball. They've had success between the tackles with the running game here today.
Here's Starks. He's running hard. About a yard, maybe a little bit less, shy of a first down. 3rd and 1 coming up, and here's another 3rd and 1. Yeah, I would imagine, well, we'll wait and see, but I'd imagine the Green Bay Packers want to see if Chicago can stop them on the ground. Then there's always Aaron Rodgers. It's Starks, and a big hole right up the middle. James Starks down inside the 15. And now it's Green Bay just cramming it right down the throats of the Chicago defense.
They come back with the same play that they ran a little bit earlier with TJ Lang kicking out. Andrew Quarless right here makes the key block that springs James Starks. That's an excellent job by Quarless finishing off the block. And then you've got James Starks one-on-one on the safety, and we've seen poor safety play throughout the season by both these teams, unable to make a tackle.
That's a season-long 41-yard run by Starks, who gets it again. I mean, there's something going on here with the ground game. Yeah, you've got Aaron Rodgers back, but the recent history of the Chicago Bears defense is, especially watching last week in the game against Philadelphia, they just collapsed trying to stop the ground game.
Well, this might be 1970s football in the second half with the way these two run defenses have been.
On 2nd and 9, they throw it. It's Jones out on the edge, and Jennings, a nice play. Forced him out after a gain of 5.
Of course, they come right out here and they get the ball then to James Jones, and you got to believe that if it turns into that type of game here in this second half, Lombardi and Hallis, they'll be smiling.
They'll be smiling, no doubt, on this cold day at Soldier Field. 3rd down and 4. Even worse than their season average today. This Bears defense stopping the run. Rodgers slides, throws, touchdown! Randall Cobb in his first game back. Seven-yard touchdown throw from Aaron Rodgers as he takes his team right down the field.
Well, Rodgers is so good at looking people off. Sometimes it's hard to tell if he's working one side of the field or if he's intending to come back the entire way, but he gets scrambled, he gets pushed out to his left. Randall Cobb runs an excellent route. I mean, Isaiah Fry had no chance to try to keep him covered there.
7th different receiver that Rodgers has found in this game, and he finds Randall Cobb after missing 10 games with a broken leg. Aaron Rodgers found number 18. And just like that, the Pack back on top by 6. When we see Mike Ditka kicking at stuff and hits out of bounds and all the stuff that's gone on with this great rivalry over the years. It's a 6-point game. Some ball game here at Soldier Field. Kind of a pop-up kick. They don't want it in the hands of Devin Hester. Out to the 25-yard line on the return by Michael Ford. Well, you said it. We just looked at that little historical piece, whether it's Lombardi or Hallis. It's feed our statistician, and he's really good. It's going to cost you. In this second half, Green Bay's run it 7 times, thrown it 3 times. Chicago ran it 5 times, hasn't thrown it yet, and I don't see that changing.
I don't either. I mean, the Packers threw when they got down in there. They come away with a touchdown, but both of these run defenses have been very poor throughout this year, have given up a lot of yardage, and I would anticipate that both of these offenses are going to lean heavily on these running backs.
So here we go. Here's Forte. And Forte spins on a body out to the 30-yard line, a gain of 5.
You know, you talk about Hallis and Lombardi, and there's been some tough guys who have been a part of this rivalry, and Ditka and Butkus and Nitschke, and you know what a great rivalry this has been going back many, many years, and this has been a heck of a ball game here with still half the quarter to go in the third.
2nd down and 5.
Hey, black.
Another carry by Forte. Just daring the Green Bay defense to step up and make a stop. A gain of 1, so 3rd down, and you have to think eventually Jay Cutler's going to have to make some plays before the end of this one.
Well, yeah, and Aaron Rodgers will have to continue to do that as well, even though they have been able to run the football. And you know, I thought it was interesting in visiting with Jay Cutler on Friday, and he was really, you know, somewhat downplaying the, I don't want to say significance of this game, but he said, I don't want to make it bigger than it is. Well, I mean, it's pretty big when it's a win and in situation.
Cutler going to try and pick it up through the air. And he goes deep. He's got Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey. Into the end zone. They're going to mark him just shy. Inches away. But 67 yards on 3rd down.
Sam Shields is in coverage, and the way he played it, he was anticipating that he was going to get safety help. Now they release the inside receiver up the field. That ties up the safety, Morgan Burnett. Sam Shields clearly thinks that he's going to have some help over the top on Alshon Jeffrey. He doesn't get it, and that's why Jeffrey was left so wide open.
It looked like Jeffrey got in the end zone both live and on that first replay. He stays up, and he's in. And we're going to get a
Chicago takes its first timeout.
And Chicago instead, and this is probably a good move.
Timeout.
Chicago's going to take a timeout, and they're going to make sure up top, because they only have 1 challenge left, that it's worthwhile challenging. But I think live it looked like a touchdown, and on the replay it looks like a touchdown. But Chicago's going to take a timeout first before they challenge.
You see what Chicago does. They release Brandon Marshall, although he did not run all the way through the middle of the field. It looked to me, Joe, like Morgan Burnett, or excuse me, it looks like M.D. Jennings, that should have been giving some help to Sam Shields and just failed to do so. He gets caught peeking at Brandon Marshall. As Brandon Marshall comes up the field, there's man coverage with Micah Hyde. Actually, it was Morgan Burnett, number 42. Who gets caught peeking inside, but a busted coverage, and that's what we spoke of a little bit earlier, the big plays that the Bears are capable of.
There's no challenge. Looked like Jeffrey got in, might be academic, and it is. Touchdown Forte. That's his third of the day. It was a 67-yarder to Jeffrey that set up this touchdown run by Matt Forte.
So they pull left guard Matt Slauson. They just hit it right up the gut. Didn't feel that they saw enough to try to challenge the call, and as you said, it didn't much matter. They punch it in on the next play.
And that makes it the fourth lead change of this game. It was set up by the 67-yarder after 7 straight runs to start this second half. Cutler a big completion, Forte the touchdown, and a 1-point lead for the Bears. Matt Forte had a 3-touchdown game against the Redskins earlier this season. He's got 1 through the air, 2 on the ground here today. Bears decided they were so close, probably didn't want to waste that last challenge, thinking they could just pound it in, and seconds later, even though it looked like Jeffrey got in the end zone, Forte popped it in. It's 21-20. So they still have that challenge left. Packers will start with it, down by 1 at their 20. Tonight at 11, head over to America's new 24-hour sports network, Fox Sports 1, to see Jay and Dan on FS Live, the sports news and highlight show that everyone's talking about. FS Live tonight at 11 on America's new 24-hour sports network, Fox Sports 1.
Saw that little highlight there of Peyton Manning. I guess congratulations are in order for him, right? As you said, he broke the single season passing yards record, and what a year. It's amazing. I mean, it is really amazing, the numbers that he has put up, and what a year he has had.
Blake Costanzo, who's an excellent special teams player, slow to get up. We had a chance to visit with Peyton Manning earlier in the year, and they're on their way to the #1 seed in the AFC playoff picture as they're taking apart Oakland. No surprise there. And Peyton talked about the nerve damage and feel in his triceps and not really feeling like he has everything he once did, but he's getting by so much on his intelligence and his understanding of defenses that his anticipation makes up for whatever arm strength he lost with those neck surgeries.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Joe, that you can't do anything that fools him, and he anticipates throws so well that even with a little lesser arm, it doesn't impact the performance.
So does this guy, Aaron Rodgers. Starting from the 20. Pass is caught. Jordy Nelson over 100 on the day. Tim Jennings on the stop, and an 18-yard completion to start the drive.
Well, Aaron Rodgers just is so good at moving defenders and not really tipping where he's going with the ball that the backside guys then tend to relax a little bit, and he fits another ball in there well.
Here's Lacy, and he is stopped. Corey Wooten, the first guy there. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Joe, another member of the Bears secondary may have been injured. Safety Major Wright is back in the locker room. Wright is being evaluated for a possible concussion. We'll keep you updated.
All right, thanks, Pam. A loss of 1 by Lacy on that carry, 2nd and 11. Fry was coming on a blitz. Showed it too early. Still coming. Rodgers pass is caught on a juggle by Quarles. He popped it up into the air and then made the catch as he turned over an 18-yard completion.
Yeah, Craig Stelz, who came in for the injured Major Wright. Initially, it looked like I thought he might make a play on it. Hard to tell there, Joe, whether or not it hit the ground.
And now there's one overrules the other. An official just overruled the other and said it was incomplete, that it hit the ground, and we'll take a look. And I don't know about that. That was awfully close to a catch. Here's a great look at it. Boy, that looks like it's His arms under the ball. It pops up and he makes the catch.
It's close. His forearms look separated there for a moment, and I don't think there's enough there that the officials would be able to overturn it. We've seen Aaron Rodgers miss some high, and that was one that he missed low, because he typically does not miss a receiver down the middle like he did on that play.
Now it's 3rd down and 10 and a challenge from McCarthy. Just studying him on the sideline, he waited. He heard from upstairs that that was worth a challenge, and this will be Green Bay's first challenge. And again, like you said, the forearms were separated.
Green Bay is challenging the ruling on the field.
It looked like the left
pass.
forearm and the right forearm are under the ball, and then the catch. We'll get the call from Clete Wakeman when we come back on this challenge by Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy challenged it. We checked in with Mike Pereira, our rules expert back in LA. Mike, what did you see from your vantage point?
I think it's so close, Joe, that the problem is to me is that you see the tip of the ball disappear here. You can't see it completely off the ground right there. The one thing that they have been told is not to overturn unless it's indisputable. And it seems like I have seen that more and more in the last couple of weeks.
So you think they stay with the call, which was, again, incomplete. One overruled the other.
Right. And that's the way I feel. And we saw that, like I say, a couple of plays last week.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 3rd down. Green Bay is charged with the first time out.
So I think what we heard from Mike Pereira really is what I thought when we saw it initially, and I was a little surprised then that Mike McCarthy, decided to challenge that call. It just didn't seem like there was enough there for them to be able to overturn that.
Major Wright is back out on the field. You heard the injury report. Corliss is not credited with that 18-yard catch. So now back inside the 40 and 3rd and 10. What's coming? Rodgers will throw incomplete for Jordy Nelson. Rodgers looking for a flag, won't get it. It's 4th down. Wright and Anderson with the coverage.
James Anderson, he initially gets in the gap as though he's going to come, and then he backs out underneath. He's the one who takes this throw away by getting under Jordy Nelson. James Anderson has had a nice game. He leads the Bears in tackles, and then he makes a nice play in coverage.
Maste hits a short punt. They're just trying to keep it away from Devin Hester, and it's going to check up at about the 32, 30-yard punt. What's at stake today? Really nothing. As you look at the scores going on in the NFC, there's nothing surprising. Seattle on their way to clinching home field advantage. San Francisco looks good again. Troy, they're really going to roll into the playoffs. A hot club. The 49ers, a team that won the NFC last year and lost in the Super Bowl. The Cardinals made a heck of a push, but they needed help, and they're losing at home to San Francisco, and New Orleans doing their part at home against Tampa Bay. The Carolina Panthers, they secured the number 2 seed. Is caught by Marshall. Hyde is out there to force him out. Good for 9.
I'm not real sure, Joe. I'd like to face either one of these wild card teams that are going to get in. 49ers, as you said, if they win today, 6 in a row.
Look at Carolina. They've won 11 of their last 12. Started the season 1-3. Everybody was calling for Ron Rivera's job, but they don't win pretty all the time. They didn't last week, and it wasn't that pretty today, but they get wins.
We saw that Luke Kuechly last week. He's something special.
He is incredible. Here's a first down picked up by Forte. Never be without football. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL to download it now. Forte, 16 carries, 79 yards, averaging just under 5 yards per rush.
180!
Forte cuts back across. Gives a stiff arm and has a nice carry. Threw a stiff arm into Sean Richardson and picks up 16 yards.
Well, Sean Richardson, this time he's the one victimized. They just do not contain. It's amazing watching the Packers each week how they have defenders who are responsible to turn the running back to the middle of the field. Sean Richardson drops down. He gets caught inside, gets the stiff arm. Matt Forte gets on the edge, and we've seen it time and time again.
On first down, 4 men on the rush. Pass underneath to Forte. A lot of room. Makes one cut. Now another. Down inside the 10.
This looked like a bust in coverage by Nick Perry. You're going to see him moving across here. It looks like he's playing man coverage. Everyone else is playing zone, and then they drop it underneath to Forte. Nick Perry comes up. He can't make a tackle. They completely turn Matt Forte loose in the flat, and then he makes people miss. And big gain for the Bears.
132 total yards for Matt Forte in this game with 3 touchdowns. Trying to add some more. Out near the 5. Dom Capers, who has such a great resume and who has been dealing with one injury after another, and this may be yet another, out on the sideline with a player down. There are questions about his job security coming into week 17 for this 26th ranked defense. They're playing without Clay Matthews. They're playing without Brad Jones. And the absence of those 2 veteran linebackers really showing up in this big game here as Josh Boyd, the rookie nose tackle, is down and getting looked at on the sideline. Before a 2nd and goal with the ball at the 5.
Yeah, Josh Boyd, one of those rookies who's had to play a lot this year because of the injuries that you spoke of, and a big body in the middle. They've had problems already in run defense, and this would be another big blow to this defensive front if he's unable to continue.
They lost Johnny Jolly. There's Matt Forte. Matt Forte, 27-year-old running back in his 6th year out of Tulane, a 2nd-round pick back in 08. He started the day number 3 in the NFL in yards from the line of scrimmage, with over 1,700. And he is right there at a 2,000-yard season for the Chicago Bears.
Hey, he's good when you do play sound defense. You know, he's impossible to stop when you don't even cover him.
On 2nd and goal, here's Moore. Toss to Forte. Nice play made by Tramon Williams. And that will end the 3rd quarter before a 3rd and goal. Matt Forte, one of 2 running backs in Bears history with over 1,200 yards rushing and 500 yards receiving. It'll be 3rd and goal when we start the 4th quarter in this battle in the NFC North. Win and in. Bears on top by 1. Back after this from your local Fox station. Talking about Matt Forte and where he sits in Bears history. One of just 2 Bears running backs with over 1,200 yards rushing and over 500 yards receiving in the same season. The other guy named Walter Payton back in 1983. Forte has had a 3-touchdown day. He's lined up next to Cutler before a 3rd and goal from the 5. Blitz. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Brandon Marshall. What a throw. What a catch.
Are you kidding me? I thought Cutler was just throwing that ball away, and maybe he was, or just giving Marshall an opportunity. It looked like good coverage. Marshall turns and This was something else. Tramon Williams is underneath this throw, and actually, you know what, Joe? That looked like it was a design play, maybe, that Cutler sees that he's in coverage and just lobs it to the corner, giving Marshall a chance, and he wheels on it, locates it, and makes a heck of a play.
Wow. I mean, what this guy has done this year, and now with Alshon Jeffrey on the other side, you talk about weaponry in an offense. You can't defend that, can you? 8-point game.
Yeah, no, it was not designed. It was really just two guys that have a history together going back to the days at Denver. Last year, this is really all they had, was this connection with Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall, and Cutler just lays it up to the pylon to just say, hey, it's either Brandon Marshall or nobody. And what an adjustment to the football Brandon Marshall made.
They talk about the great center fielders in baseball that have the ability of taking their eye off the ball, spin, and then relocate the ball. And that's exactly what Marshall did. He spun around the body of the defender and then went back up in the back of the end zone, found the ball, made the catch, and got inbounds.
Well, as many great catches as Jay Cutler has seen Brandon Marshall make. You saw that grin on his face. Even he thought this one was pretty good. That's a great job. That's not easy to do. You know, you take your eyes off the ball as he turns there and then relocate it once again in flight. That's very, very difficult. He makes it look routinely easy. Tramon Williams can't believe it either.
I mean, what's Tramon Williams supposed to do? Jay Cutler, you know, this has been Matt Forte's day. But Jay Cutler, when he's had to make throws, like that big one, 67-yarder to Alshon Jeffrey on third down, he's made some good throws. Here's Hyde. Knocked down near the 23. Remember, Jay Cutler came into this game in his career 1-7 while with Chicago against the Green Bay Packers. And behind that very good offensive line, even without Jordan Mills, Eben Britton taking over right tackle, they've been so powerful on offense with a ground game, and Cutler's done his job when he's needed to.
We had a heck of a supporting cast coming into this game. You see, he's just attempted 15 passes. He's completed them 10 times. He's done a nice job, as you said. He's made the throws when they've been there. He hasn't turned the ball over. As much as he tried to downplay coming into this game, this is a big game for him. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, and so far he's delivered.
Also playing for a contract. Here's Lacey on the toss. Still a one-score game, and with an entire quarter to go. James Anderson on the tackle, a gain of 2. We've had 4 lead changes in this game. And now it's the Green Bay Packers trying to answer after that eye-popping touchdown from Cutler to Marshall for the last points put up in what's now an 8-point game.
Hey, 50.
Nelson gets around Jennings, stays up. Jordy Nelson down the sideline, and a big catch and run. Jennings couldn't make the play. Chris Conte comes over after a 34-yard completion from Aaron Rodgers.
That's terrible. There's four Bears there to make a play. I think 3 of them miss him completely. You know, Jennings is there one-on-one, and then 3 guys come flying in and don't even make a play. Don't touch Jordy Nelson. And a big game for the Packers.
How about a 148-yard day for Nelson?
Ready, done.
Here's Lacey. Nice play, Peppers. He closed down and made the stop.
Joe, we talked about Peppers coming into this game and really needing to show up, and he has done just that. He's got 1 sack in this game. He makes a play there, but he's made a number of other plays that are not going to show up in the stat sheet. I think he's been outstanding in run defense. He's had himself a nice game.
2nd down and 9. Here's Jones with Cobb blocking in front of him, and James Jones has got a first down inside the 30, and Randall Cobb, back off that temporary IR, was out in front lead blocking.
Yeah, the Bears bring Isaiah Fry off the slot, something we've seen pretty consistently from the Bears defense, one-on-one outside, and then when you do that, you force these defensive backs to try to make tackles. One-on-one down at the bottom to Jordy Nelson.
Pass is caught somehow by Corliss. Conti flashed in front, looked like he had a shot at an interception, and somehow it got through to Corliss for a 23-yard completion.
It looked like it had to go through the body of Chris Conti because he was in a position to make a play. I don't know how that ball got in there. It looked like it went right through the arms of Chris Conti.
Here's Lacy. Eddie Lacy is going to get to the edge for the touchdown. Aaron Rodgers was out there throwing a block. And Eddie Lacy is in for the score. And in case you're wondering, now down by 2. Crosby is on the field for the extra point.
Well, everybody collapses. You know, they got Eddie Lacy bottled up, but nobody stays home and contains. And we've seen that a lot from the Packers defense. This time, the Bears do the same thing, and the Packers deciding to settle for 1.
And it's 28-27. Packers have rushed it today for 148 yards. Lacy's got the touchdown, his 11th of the season. Back to a 1-point game.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. By Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. And by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss.
Eddie Lacy with a touchdown run from 6 yards out. Jordy Nelson with a 34-yard catch on that 77-yard drive. We'll give you another look at that catch by Corliss that it literally looked like it passed through the body of Conti, the safety, as Crosby will kick it away. Devin Hester from the 5, getting a chance to return another. And he delivers a hit at the 25. He's wrapped up at the 26.
Well, Chris Conti already has 1 interception in the first quarter of this ball game, and they don't get a lot easier than what this one would have been. He's in a great position to make a play. He's in man coverage on Andrew Corliss, and he lays out, and it just simply goes right through his arms and looked like off maybe his shoulder pads, and Corliss was able to make the catch. The crowd reacted. They thought it was an easy interception and going the other way. So did I.
Corliss has really stepped up for the Packers. And now movement up front from Bushrod.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Remember, the Packers lost Jermichael Finley against Cleveland week 7. Corliss has been much better of late. He helped set it up. How about 3 possessions in this half for Chicago and 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, I think it's worth noting, too, that Mike McCarthy elected to go for the extra point instead of going for 2 to tie it with 11 minutes left in the game. Usually in the fourth quarter, you go for 2. I don't disagree with the decision by McCarthy.
Here's Forte on a little screen. After the loss of 5 yards, he gets 7. Lattimore on the stop. By the way, Green Bay 0 for 3 trying 2-point conversions this season. Some of that when Rodgers was out. Remember, the Packers are even in this position because of the work of Eddie Lacy, Matt Flynn, and the offense down 26-3 at the half a couple of weeks ago in Arlington, Texas against Dallas. They came roaring back for a 1-point win, and now here today it's whoever wins this game wins the division. Forte kind of throttled down. Williams made the stop. A gain of 6, 3rd and short coming up.
The Bears started this game out Not doing real well on third down. It looks like they've converted their last 3 third downs, and here they are looking at a 3rd and 2 to keep this drive alive.
Forte with his 20th career 100-yard rushing day. He's behind Cutler on 3rd and 2.
180.
The way he's run the ball, I think I'd give it to him here.
180.
Pressman gets it to him on a toss. He's got a first down and more. Out to the 45. Instead of between the tackles, it's outside the tackles on a toss from Jay Cutler.
Well, good blocking on the outside, as you're going to see Eric Weems and Brandon Marshall. They help secure the edge and get Matt Forte out there in space. It's just an excellent job. Kick out by Jermon Bushrod. Just a good executed play there by the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, those big receivers for Chicago, Jeffrey and Marshall, not only good at catching it, they can block. And little Eric Weems threw a big block on that conversion. Marshall with a catch. Williams can't bring him down immediately. A gain of 7. Second and 3 coming up. We welcome in a new audience joining us on this 25-degree night in Chicago. It's been a fantastic game. Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears meeting for the first time in the final weekend. A situation where the winner makes it into the playoffs. That's what's on the line. Cutler pass complete. That's Wilson. And Marquise Wilson, a rookie out of Washington State, a guy the Bears love, is good for 10. That's only his 2nd catch all year.
Yeah, we visited with them on Friday. They were talking about Marquise Wilson getting his opportunity with Earl Bennett not playing in this game, and they liken him to Alshon Jeffrey. I mean, could you imagine if this guy winds up going on and being the type of player that they envision him to be? This offense is already dangerous enough.
Penalty flag as Jeffrey can't make the connection on the catch. Flag early, and it's against Chicago.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 15 was covering the tight end. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So it's 1st and 15. 2 5-yarders on this drive. First one didn't slow him down. Forte has a touchdown. Brandon Marshall, if you're a part of the crowd that just joined us, had an incredible spinning touchdown reception moments ago. Last time the Bears had it. 8 minutes to go. 1st and 15. Cutler, Forte, good play. Hawk. First time we've said the name of A.J. Hawk today. He's the constant in the middle for Green Bay with all the injuries and flux around him.
A lot of field there too for A.J. Hawk to defense, because you're so worried about the big playability by the big wide receivers on the outside that Cutler comes underneath to Forte, but A.J. Hawk played it very well.
You see Josh Boyd is back in. He injured his hip earlier. He's back in the middle on 2nd and 12. It's Forte. Nothing there initially. Looking for a block. Cutler trying to get in on it. Good play. Tackle is made by Malumba, and a loss on the play of 5, and a big stop on that 2nd down play by the Green Bay defense.
Well, huge stop by this defense, because they rally to the ball carrier and they're able to get him to the ground. Andy Malumba this time, he stays put. I'm sure they've had some talks with him and others over there on that Packers sideline about staying home and not giving up containment. This time he does just that.
Now 3rd down and 17. Timeout taken defensively as Lattimore was late getting off the field. Timeout Green Bay. They only have one left. Whoever wins this game wins the division and hosts a playoff game next weekend. 6.5 to go, fourth quarter. 3rd and 17 coming up. And here's why they had to call a timeout, as Lattimore had to get off the field. So Green Bay with only 1 remaining. 3rd and long. Cutler, Jeffrey, downfield pass, incomplete. Coverage by Shields. And a rare stop. Really the only stop defensively for Green Bay in this second half.
Yeah, and Alshon Jeffrey had an opportunity on this. You know, it hits him in the hands, and Sam Shields did not get his hand in there. It didn't appear. But Jay Cutler on 3rd and long just gives him an opportunity. Sam Shields doing all that he can. You see, Jay Cutler sees that he actually could have caught that ball. But nevertheless, the Packers get off the field, Joe. But that timeout, that could prove costly to this Packers team as we go through the next 6.5 minutes.
Odlish kicks it. Hyde, the fair catch. Bears had it 3 previous times in the second half. It scored touchdowns. This time the Packers defense gets a stop. Back to work, Rodgers.
Today's game is sponsored by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more.
The OT coming up after the action here from Soldier Field. Plenty to talk about with regard to week 17 and heading toward wild card weekend next weekend. Down by 1. Here's Lacy. Bad ankle and all. Eddie Lacy pushes to the 15. Gain of 2. Wooten on the stop. We've only seen Lacy come away limping 1 time, but he's had 3 straight weeks where he has tweaked that right ankle.
He's such a physical runner that he delivers a lot of punishment, but he absorbs a lot of punishment as well.
What a rookie year he's had on 2nd and 8. Lacy, as Rodgers finally comes down to him. Out across the 20. Fry on the stop. 3rd and short coming up. Third down and 2. Lacy carries, fights, and looks like he's got it. The official came running in from the far side, and if you trust the line in the right foot of the head linesman, he was knocked down right at the marker. And this is going to be inches either way. Ratliff on the tackle. It looked like Lacy right here picked it up. Conte came in. He was in the arms of Ratliff. And then it depends on the spot.
Yeah, I thought he got the first down as well. And what an excellent job by Eddie Lacy of keeping his legs going. And this guy is really something special.
They are going to be inches short. There's a challenge out there for Mike McCarthy if he wants to go that way. You can see him talking to the headset, say challenge it, and he may throw it out there.
He's trying to make that determination. He's getting some advice from upstairs on what he's going to do, whether he's going to challenge it or whether or not he's even maybe going to go for it on 4th down. But take another look at this play by Eddie Lacy and see exactly how far he was able to get, because I don't know if there's going to be enough there to overturn it if they challenge it.
I agree with you. It looks like they're going to go for it.
You gotta remember too, if he challenges it and loses it, he loses his last time out.
Play clock is at 3. They get it away, and it's Cohn for the first down. First down, Green Bay. John Kuhn picked it up.
You know, they were so late, Mike McCarthy was, in deciding whether or not to go for it there on 4th down or challenge the call. He's waiting to hear some from somebody upstairs that they almost didn't get that play off in time.
We're going to get a measurement, but clearly he's picked it up, which gives Green Bay a little extra time to make this what should be a first down call. I mean, that's clearly a first down by Kuhn.
Well, they were fortunate to get it off, Joe, because not only were they rushed on the play clock, and then Aaron Rodgers has to get Ryan Taylor, the tight end, up on the line, which took a little time as well.
First down Green Bay as they trail by 1, 4.5 left.
Pretty big call there by Mike McCarthy. Going for it on 4th down, backed up on his own end of the field. John Kuhn, he goes and gets it. But man, those are hard calls to make for these head coaches.
On somewhat what has to come down to the Green Bay defense as well if you're Mike McCarthy.
319.
Might as well keep the offense out there. Here's Jones. Cobb delivers a block. And Jones out to the 29. Gain of 6.
James Jones, tackled by Isaiah Fry.
Well, right now with the difference in the game being 1 point, Joe, and it goes back to Mike McCarthy deciding with 11 minutes to play to kick the extra point as opposed to going for 2. A lot of coaches in the 4th quarter would have gone for 2 at that point.
Here's a pass off the hands of James Jones. Now 3rd down and 4. So another big 3rd down.
Yeah,
this was there.
This was a well-thrown ball by Aaron Rodgers. He protects James Jones on the throw and gives him a chance. James Jones just unable to come up with it.
Third down and 4. Rodgers is going to lunge for the first down. One of the rare times we've seen him take off his first game back after the broken collarbone.
I do think because of that, Joe, he has been reluctant to take off running because he has stayed in the pocket and really tried to allow things to develop as much as possible, sometimes to the detriment of the offense. This time he knew he had to go get it, and he gets it.
On first down, Rodgers finds his target, Nelson, as we're coming up on 3 minutes left. If you go back to going for the extra point of the 2-point conversion, 2-point conversion, if you make it, you're in a tie game. If you don't get it, it's still just a 2-point game. So there's still some question as to whether McCarthy should have gone for it or not. He elected to kick the extra point as Lacy is going to try and fight for the first down. He's about a yard short, maybe a little less.
It's certainly a discussion point, Joe. I think early in games through the first 3 quarters, you always kick the extra point. Too many times you see these coaches go for 2, and then that point that you failed to get comes back and haunts you. That's why I said at the time, a little over 11 minutes to play. I didn't disagree with the call, but if this game ends as a 28-27 ball game, it certainly will be brought into question.
Now 3rd down and 1. You got to think they've got 2 downs to get a yard. Toss to Lacy, and Eddie Lacy is not going to get it. Lance Briggs on the stop, and that should carry us to the 2-minute warning. We'll take a break. It'll be 4th down when we come back. Packers with the ball, down by 1. Right now, this game rides on a 4th and 1 call. They've converted once on this drive on 4th down. They're 7 of 11 on the season. Any hope the Packers have winning this game in the division right now comes down to this play. Pass is caught by Jordy Nelson. They put it in the right hand of Aaron Rodgers, and he put it right into the lap of number 87.
Well, hey, the game's on the line right here. You come to your guy leading the team in receptions this season, and that's not an easy play to make. Not an easy throw. Jordy Nelson, sure-handed, makes a key catch.
And now whistle stop play before the snap on first down.
I think they're going to take another look at it maybe, Joe, but I don't know if there was any movement before the snap or not.
Let's take another look. Looked like a clean catch. The officials gather at the Bear 45. Meanwhile, think about where the Green Bay Packers' fate may lie, and it may rest right on the right foot of Mason Crosby.
There was a practice football that came onto the field. So we reset the play clock to 40 seconds and the game clock to 1 minute 35 seconds. 1:35.
That guy number 2, Mason Crosby, was under fire all last year. He had an NFL low 64% on field goal attempts and field goals made last year. He took a pay cut to $840,000 with incentives, could get back to his original salary. He's had a big comeback year. He's getting ready. Rodgers wasn't ready for the snap, somehow caught it, and the pass is incomplete for Quarless. But that play started dangerously for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. He was not looking for the snap, but it went right into his right arm.
Yeah, that's right. And if it had not have been snapped where it was, then that ball's behind him because he was not ready. This was another example, though, Joe. It looked to me like Aaron Rodgers, in most circumstances, he would have kept the ball and ran. There was a lot of field open for him if he had elected to take it.
Instead, Quarless slipped. And it's 2nd and 10. Handoff is to Lacy. And Eddie Lacy, not much. Over the right side, gets 2.
Now, this Bears defense has really tightened up against Eddie Lacy. There has not been a lot of places for him to go with the football here on the last few carries.
3rd down and 8. One timeout left for Green Bay. Rodgers, pass is incomplete behind Jordy Nelson. And now it's 4th down again.
The Packers got away, or the Bears got away with one. They completely turned James Jones loose. The corner thinks he has help. He's man-to-man. James Jones wide open up that left sidelines. Aaron Rodgers just not working that way, and a ball that got behind Jordy Nelson, unable to make the catch.
15th play of the drive, with the game hanging on it on 4th and 8. Blitz. Rodgers gets out, floats it. Cobb! Touchdown! Randall Cobb! His 2nd of the game.
Joe, the defensive backs sit at the markers for the first down. They're not anticipating that the Packers are going to try to go down the field. Chris Conte, you see it, he's jumping. He settles right at the first down marker, and Randall Cobb goes right by him. Give Aaron Rodgers some credit. He has Julius Peppers right in his lap. He's able to make him miss, and then finds Randall Cobb down the field. Big play for the Packers. Huge on 4th down.
And now they'll go for 2.
They're going to go for 2 here and try to make this a 7-point game.
Cobb, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. But there's time left.
Do right. No,
2 timeouts for Chicago. Packers haven't converted a 2-point conversion this season. Pass is batted into the arm of Rodgers, who still had it alive but dropped it. Pass got up and blocked the pass. Randall Cobb, welcome back. Welcome back, Aaron Rodgers. Pack on top by 5. Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide Insurance. There have been 5 lead changes in this game, and now Green Bay is back on top by 5 points. Randall Cobb missed 10 games. He's had 2 catches today, both for touchdowns. And now it's on Jay Cutler and the Bears offense. First it's Hester, and it gives him a chance out near the 40. 31 seconds left with 2 timeouts.
Look at the job that John Kuhn does coming over to help get enough, just enough of Julius Peppers off the edge, and Aaron Rodgers then able to buy a little bit of time. Now on the back end, Chris Conte, as I said, he sits on the first down marker thinking that they're going to throw the ball short. They also could have gotten Major Wright for pass interference on Jordy Nelson, but Cobb gets in behind it. And I got to tell you, Joe, that is not an easy throw for Aaron Rodgers moving to his left. A lot of good things on that play that had to happen for the Packers to come away with a touchdown.
On first down, Cutler. He's going to throw incomplete to Martellus Bennett, and they'll spend a timeout. They've got 1 left, 22 seconds left. There is still time remaining, but the Bears have to get it into the end zone.
Well, 1 timeout remaining, and so they can still get the ball underneath. They're going to have a shot into this end zone, so everybody can sit on the edge of their seat and watch the finish on this one.
How about that drive by Green Bay? 15 play, 87-yard drive. They get 48 yards on a 4th and 8 play, and they converted 3 4th downs on that drive.
Pretty good. They had to make plays, and they got the ball to the guys who make the plays, that being Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. Good to have him back, and then of course the job that Aaron Rodgers does delivering the football.
24 seconds left. Cutler steps up, no pressure, end zone pass is batted away for Jeffrey. Burnett got over and knocked it away. 16 seconds left with a timeout.
Not so sure I wouldn't come back with that play again. They've got time to run it a couple more times, you know, rather than come underneath and then just try to take maybe 1 more shot into the end zone. But these receivers are so dangerous because of their length and their ability to go up for the football. Both Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall, and then as we talked about a little bit earlier, Marquise Wilson, who's also 6'4".
On second down, Cutler is going to come underneath, and Marshall dropped it. Had it in his chest, could not complete the catch. Now it's 3rd down, and 10 seconds remain for Chicago.
You know, with this throw right here to Brandon Marshall, he runs the deep dig route and has a chance to make a play on that, and probably wasn't going to go much further even if he had made the play. But if they had got that kind of yardage, they would have been able to run a more designed play into the end zone.
Division riding on this possession now for Chicago. Everybody back deep in the secondary for Green Bay as Cutler buys time. This could be it. Cutler is going to air it out for the end zone in the direction of Marshall. It's picked off by Shields. Green Bay wins the North. Mike McCarthy gets his quarterback back after missing 7 starts. He gets his slot man back in Randall Cobb after missing 10. Trestman and McCarthy come together in midfield. Cutler is now 1-8 in his career with Chicago against Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers is 10-3 against Chicago while with the Packers. He's won an NFC Championship game here at Soldier Field, and now this Week 17 game to win the NFC North.
It started off a little shaky for this man right here, number 12, Aaron Rodgers, but man, down the stretch when he had to make the plays, he made them.
Aaron Rodgers is standing by with Pam Oliver. Pam.
He's sort of standing by. All right, Aaron. Wow, wow, wow. So much for the rust. How just comfortable did you feel, and how great do you feel right now?
I lost my voice. This is an amazing feeling back here at Soldier again. What a game. I mean, so many plays, you know, bad interception early, you know, a poor throw on the second one. But I felt like I was in a rhythm. I felt like we were moving it pretty good. I just need to make some better throws. Had 2 bad throws on second and third down that last drive. Fourth down, they brought the house, and John Kuhn had an incredible cut off the edge to give me enough time to get outside, and I saw Randall wide open.
Drama, drama, drama coming into this and surrounding you and people questioning your toughness. How did you do it?
You know, we got a great group of guys. The focus, you know, through this whole period has probably been too much on me. It needs to get back on the team. Hopefully we can put this behind us, move forward together. Defense did a great job finishing that game off. Offensively, we left some points out there, but against our rivals, win or go home game, couldn't be prouder.
It was terrific. Thank you so much. Let's go back upstairs to Joe.
All right, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers win it here at Soldier Field.